All right, guys, here's the notes for the night, rotation notes. For some weird reason, when I upload these onto my iPad, the graphs aren't showing up correctly. So I'm just going to go based on the points, and y'all can plot it. And we'll check it in class. All right, so let's get our date. 12/4/15. Okay? And then a rotation is simply just the turning of a figure on a fixed point. All right, and how can we turn the figures? We can turn them clockwise, or we can turn them counterclockwise. Okay? Two things that you need to know are the two D's of rotations, which is the degree that we have, like 90 degrees, 180, 270, 360. So the degree, okay? And then the direction, which way. Okay? So just like when we were talking about translations and reflections, a rotation is another image that you don't alter the shape. You may rotate it and turn it, but you're not changing the size in any way, and you're not making it smaller or bigger. So they're still going to remain congruent. Okay? These are just examples here. What I want to do actually is to rewrite what we wrote on our index cards, our little cheat sheet that I made you. So over here, we're going to do the clockwise, or the counterclockwise, excuse me. The counterclockwise, blah, 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 the counterclockwise rules. So I'm going to have 90 degrees. And this, remember that the negative does not mean it's a negative, it means to do the opposite. So if I'm going to go counterclockwise 90 degrees, and that means that I'm going to do the opposite to my y, and my x is going to stay the way that it is. But my y now becomes my x, and my x now becomes my y. All right? And then for 270, all right, I'm going to have x and y. And remember, this is clockwise of 90. They're going to have the same rule. Whereas my y stays the same but becomes my x, and I do the opposite of my x. Okay? And my x now is my y. And then we have for 180 degrees. All right? Which is just the exact opposite, like when you're on a skateboard. If you're facing north and you do a 180, you're then going to be facing south. Okay? So we're going to do the opposite of x and the opposite of y. All right? But we do not move our y to our x and our x to our y. Okay? And remember, the negative does not mean, it means the opposite, right? Does not mean that it's a negative sign to do the negative. Let me give y'all just a minute to do that. Okay. I went ahead and deleted the counterclockwise part because my pages are kind of a little different than yours. This is still on the same page. So at the bottom of yours, though, you should have a little bit more room to write. And we're going to do, earthquake check. We're going to do the clockwise rules now real quick. And the only ones that I'm really going to focus on are the 90 degrees and the 270 degrees, all right? So the 90 degree one, because the 180 and 360 are the exact same. The 90 degree one, when you're going clockwise, okay, you're going to bring your y forward and do the opposite to x. All right, so your y becomes your x and your x becomes your y, but do the opposite of whatever your x is. And then the same thing for 270, which is also the same as the 90 degrees counterclockwise. Okay, x and y. And you're going to do the opposite to y and keep your x the same. But your y is your now x and your x is your now y. Okay? And then let's scroll, go to the next page. And your example 1 for triangle 1, okay, it says to rotate triangle ABC 90 degrees counterclockwise and label each triangle A1, B1, and C1, okay? So I don't have the graph. Even when I swipe over to the next page, I'm not going to be able to see the graph. So I know what the points are because I have the notes right here in front of me. So I'm going to write down what each point is, okay? And A is 1/4 if you look at it. Remember, you start at your origin. You're going to go over 1 and up 4. Okay? B is 5, 2. And then C is 2, 0. All right? So I know that I'm going to rotate it counterclockwise, CC. So I'm going to go to the left, okay? So that means that I'm going to use the rule that I'm going to use for counterclockwise is this one right here. Okay? Do the opposite to y and keep our x the same. All right? So my a is now going to become negative 4 because right now it's a positive 4 and I need to move it to my x. So negative 4, 1. Don't change your x. And then b is going to become negative 2, 5. And this is actually a prime, b prime. And then c, which are kind of, I should have not written it so big. C is going to become 0, 2. And those will be the points that you want to plot, or C prime. And you're going to want to connect the dots to form the triangle. All right? So then let's look at triangle. It says, or question B. It says now you're going to rotate triangle ABC, the original one, not the new one. Triangle ABC 180 degrees counterclockwise. Okay? So in order to do that, you're just going to do the opposite of both your x. Remember, you're going to do the opposite of both x and y. Do the opposite to both, but you don't change the order. So then A, the new point for A, this is going to be A2, it says. Label it A2, B2, C2. All right, so A is going to be negative 1, negative 4, because we got to change both of them. All right. B is going to change to negative 5, negative 2. And then C is going to give us negative 2. And 0 is going to stay the way that it is because, well, there's not such thing as a negative 0. It's its own number. And then you need to plot that one and connect those dots to form the triangle. And then we're going to rotate counterclockwise 270 degrees. Okay, so for this one to rotate counterclockwise 270 degrees, the rule for that one was, okay, we keep our y the same and we do the opposite to x. Okay, so if we originally had, if A was originally 1, 4, right? A was 1, 4. Probably help if you could see it on your, if I could see it on my paper. 5, 2. And then C was 2, 0. All right, so it says take my y, bring it to the front. So this new one, my y is 4 for A, and I'm going to do the opposite to x, so now I have negative 1. All right, now B is going to change to positive 2, negative 5, and then C is going to change to 0, negative 2. And you're going to plot those and form the triangle. And then down here on this table right now, you're just going to put your data of what we just did. All right? Because we rotated it 90 degrees counterclockwise. Then we did counterclockwise. And then we did 270 degrees. Now let's think about 360. Okay? It should just end up right where we left off, right? It's not going to go anywhere else. So this would be 1, 4. This would be 5, 2. And this would be 2, 0. All right, and then the 270 is the results we just did right here. So I have 4, negative 1, 2, negative 5, and 0, negative 2. All right, and then for the 180, we have negative 1, negative 4, hard to read. And then B, -5, -2. And C, -2, 0. All right, and then the 90 degrees counterclockwise is going to be -4, 1, -2, 5, and then 0, 2. All right. Give you a minute to get caught up, and you can write those in. This is a -2. All right, you can put an X through this part because we already did this on the other part, so you don't need it. What I want to do now is I want to go down here to examples 4, 5, and 6 where they give you a point, and we're going to rotate them counterclockwise or clockwise. So number 4, 5, and 6, all right, it says for number 4 we're going to do counterclockwise. So the rule for counterclockwise, look at your paper, that's CC. Counterclockwise says XY. All right, and it means to do the opposite to Y, but our X stays. So if this is if -2 is my Y, it's now going to become a +2, and I'm going to get 2/3. And if you think about that, graphically speaking, +3, -2 is going to be about here. And remember, I'm only rotating at 90 degrees counterclockwise. So then when I go to rotate it, it's going to be over here. That's not graph perfect, but it's showing you that I'm moving counterclockwise 90 degrees. All right. For number 5, the rule for number 5, we're just going to rotate 180 counterclockwise. It's going to be the same whether you go counterclockwise or clockwise. The rule is just to do the opposite of X and Y. But don't change the order. So then that -5 is going to become a +5, and that -4, or that +4 is going to become a -4. All right? And the same thing with that one. Let me delete this right here. I deleted too much. Whoops. Give me 1 second. Totally messed up. Okay, I kind of had to move it around a little bit. But go on and show with that arrow, write down 90 degrees, showing that we're rotating it counterclockwise 90 degrees. And then for this one, remember we just did the opposite. I know I'm just rewriting what I just did. I'm sorry. I accidentally deleted it and couldn't figure out how to bring it back. So then my answer for this would be 5, -4. And if you think about it on a graph, all right, -5, 4. So -5, go to left, 4, somewhere over here. All right, well now, if I'm going to go rotate it counterclockwise 90 degrees, that means going this way. So this is 90, and then I'm going to go again 90, and that's going to give me my 180. Hello. And that means that this point is actually +5, -4 is going to be somewhere over here. So that's exactly opposite of each other. All right, on number 6, it says go clockwise 90 degrees. So now we're going clockwise 90 degrees. The rule for that one is to leave our Y alone and do the opposite to X. So I have a +Y, which is 2, and then my X is now a -3. I'm going to slow down. I realize I went a little fast on that. So give you a moment to get caught up. Let's go on and scroll. That's the end of my page. I'm going to move to page 3 now, which is your page 4. Okay. Well, what do you know? There's my graph. It's still on there. This graph stayed on there. It says draw the final image by rotating triangle RST. This is supposed to be on the other page. I don't think I can delete this either. Guys, this graph is obviously the graph from another page. I don't know why it's transferring over here. Do me a favor, don't pay any attention to this. Okay? Don't even look at it. What we're focused on is this right here. Okay? So it says that we're going to rotate counterclockwise. All right? and then you're gonna reflect over the origin. So we're gonna go 90. You know what? Let's pause for a moment. Guys, stop here. I wanna do these in class. So this is gonna be in class, A and B. We're gonna do in class together to make sure that we're all on the same page. So we're gonna end our notes right here. So they're kind of short and sweet. Your homework did not have you doing any reflecting with it. It just had you counterclockwise, whether it be, or clockwise, 90 degrees, 270, 180, or 360. Don't forget your homework. I'll see you guys tomorrow in class. Have a great night.